this is Noreen from Joya Cards, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Yay! For more of my Stampin' Up! Card videos, please click that subscribe button. That would be most appreciated. So anyway, I am going to be doing part 2 of framed florets. Now, I already did a framed florets tutorial on Sunday, and I'll put in the description of my video the link. So if you don't know, next to the description there's a little arrow or show more or whatever. If you click on that, everything that I use in the videos is in the description. So the sizes of the cards and the dimensions and the papers and everything I used in it. Also, I have my Amazon links because I am an Amazon affiliate. It helps out my small business. If you click on it and buy anything or don't buy anything, I get actual credit. So like my light boards, the folders for your paper, all the things you use. So anyway, so this is the card video. So the first one was the tutorial. I showed you everything, how it all lays out. And then this is the cards. Now I made 10 cards, and there's a reason why I made 10 cards, kind of a different thing. So let's go ahead and start with the first card. Here's my first card, and this one was really quite interesting. It is a white 5.5 by 4 1/4. I've got Daffodil Delight 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then I've got Polished Pink 4 by 5 1/4 and Night of Navy 4 by 5 1/4. So what I've done on the Daffodil and the Pink, I just laid them down. And then on the Night of Navy, I took this die and I cut it out 3 times on each side, trying to make sure all the hearts are going in the right direction. I did this like 3 times. I kept on messing up. It's always on the last one, and of course I did it here too, where these are upside down. It's like, you know what? It's handmade. You know that somebody made this on a machine, obviously. So I used the die and I made out all these little patterns. And then I've taken the large die here and I only used the middle. I didn't use the frame at all, and I stamped it with Polished Pink because I wanted to do that. I used the gold adhesive back swirls. Now these swirls, this whole set, by the way, will be in the January mini catalog, January 2023. Everything will be there, the stamps and the dies, but the swirls and the designer series paper will not. So if you want the swirls and the DS paper to match this set, you need to do it now. And it's till supplies last. And if it's anything like Celebration that we recently had, it's going to go fast. So I went ahead and put the little swirls on there. Inside is Polished Pink, Daffodil Delight. And then you can do the flowers different ways. Now this one, I could have just stamped it, but I already had this one all done from my instructional video, which is the one right before this, because it's a big set, a big collection. They're not calling it a suite, they're calling it a collection, just to, confuse me. This one I just took the die cut. So like you can die cut them and color them, or you can just stamp them like this. So I stamped it and I used Night of Navy, Polished Pink, Soft Succulent, and Evening Evergreen. And like I said, all the dimensions and everything will be in the description of my video. You don't have to sit there and frantically write it down. So this is card number 1. Here's card number 2, and it's very simple. And I'll get to this in a minute, but it's a big element here on a bunch of busy paper. And a lot of the paper in this set, and I've got all my DS paper in my file folder here so I can keep all the scraps and everything. These are great. So this is one of the Amazon links in the description of the video. You click on it. If you buy it or you don't buy it, as long as you're logged in and save cookies, I actually get some kind of credit on anything you buy on Amazon for like 24 hours. It helps me keeping my videos going. So even if you don't buy anything, it's appreciated and helped out. So anyway, so this set is really great for this big element on the paper because it's really, really busy. So this is just the inside. So it's the inside of this one, the bigger one, and it's the inside of this one, and they fit on top of each other really nicely. And then I just use the DS paper inside, and I stamped the small flower, which is right here, and I just used light Night of Navy and light balmy blue. And it's because it's the colors in here. Now, card number 3, 4, and 5 are interesting. So this set, which also has this stamp set with it, they did because they wanted it to be like a transitional thing. You could use this for Christmas. You could use this for birthdays. You can use this for thank yous. You could use this for a lot of different things. So what I decided to do, since the paper is so beautiful, is I just made a bunch of cards, because look how you can use this paper, and it's so versatile that I just made these cards. So they're basically the same thing over and over, and they look really great. In fact, I might put this on my website, this little 3-pack on my website, and it's joyofcards.com is my website. Or if you go on YouTube, my handle, if you just put in search at Joy of Cards, you'll pull me right up. So, but on my website, joyofcards.com, I have a shop button. It's right at the top. Go shop. When it pulls down, it says shop Stampin' Up. That's my direct Stampin' Up site. So my direct Stampin' Up is joyofcards.stampinup.net. But there's also another shop, and this is good for demonstrators. If you're a demonstrator out there too, this is great. I have retired items. I sell all my retired items on there. So there'll be retired items, there'll be cards, and there'll be card kits. I have 1 card kit up. So this will be under cards, and I'll probably sell it in a 3-pack with envelopes and everything. So look out for that. But this is showing you the versatility of this set because the paper is so pretty. So this is card number 2, 3, 4, and 5. Here's card number 6. Now, out of all these cards, I wanted to make a Christmas one using their paper because that's how they're packaging this. But the best one I found for it was this one here, the green and white checkered. So it's really kind of pretty, actually. So what I did with that, of course, I used a framed and festive. I took this die here and the inside. So I cut the frame in cherry cobbler. Now, all the colors that go with the DS paper are on the back here. So cherry cobbler is one of the colors there. All the colors I've used on these are on the back here, except for the ones I'm going to show you in a few minutes. But anyway, this is cherry cobbler, and then I cut it again in white and use the white for the sentiment, obviously. And then I die cut out the stem. Now, if you go to my tutorial, there's 3 kinds of dies here. There are dies that actually make things like this stem. There's a frame died, which are these, and there are outline dies that cut out the outline of the DS paper, which I didn't actually use in any of the cards, which is interesting. But this is what you need to put down for here. Now, what I did with the little stem is I cut this twice. I cut it out in soft succulent and I cut it out in evening evergreen. And then when I put it down here, the soft succulent is the stem. And then when I ran it through, and I'll show you in a minute because we're going to make the last card and I'm going to be using the same technique. So run the evening evergreen on the second time, and you're going to run it through your die cutter a couple of times because you really want those pieces to stick and stay in the die. So when we put this down, and we'll do it on the next card, we're going to lay this one over it and then poke these out, and they'll poke them in the little spaces there, or most of them anyway. And then I use my fine tip glue, and I just put all those little creases in there. Now, we're also going to be on the last card. I'm going to show you that a different technique, or I'm going to show you in this card a different technique than the other one. This frame here is also backed in evening evergreen. And what I did is I took the outline, the negative to one of these, and I took a pencil and did it on evening evergreen and just fussy cut it and put it under there. So I don't have to lay in all those little pieces because there are a million of them, even though we're going to do that on the next card. So this is backed, the limb is backed, And then I also used my favorite red rhinestone basic jewels, which I hope they keep in the catalog forever. And I used that as the berry. So now it looks Christmassy. And then on the inside, I just used that same DS paper, basic white. And then I took the little stamp here and I did it in soft succulent and evening evergreen blending pens, and then took a cherry cobbler and just made the little berries. So this is card number 6. So this is card number 7, 8, and 9. And just like the birthday ones I did on that other card showing all the papers, I did the same thing for Christmas theme. But I didn't use the DS paper, the fitted frames. I used the Boughs of Holly, because that is a nice, beautiful paper. It's really like busy. So you have to keep in mind, anything busy, you got to put a big old element on top. So that's what I did. And I just made like 3 really quick cards. I mean, it literally didn't take much of an effort here. Now, the difference between number 6 and these 3 is I didn't put the little twig on the side, and I didn't back up the frame, which is fine. Most people won't even notice that. But doesn't that look beautiful on Boughs of Holly? And then on the inside, I just made them just really basic. Use the same cards as they're lined. If you want to know the card colors, it's on the description of my video. I probably also will put this in my shop. So joyofcards.com, go to shop with Joy of Cards, and I've got card kits, cards, retired items, and some other things on there. So I'll probably sell this in a set of 3. But this is how versatile this is, and of course using festive frames. This is card number 7, 8, and 9. Here's card number 10. This is the one we're going to make. So this is just a balmy blue, and it's 5.5 by 4.25, and we're going to do the inside first. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the little flower, this one right here, and just put it in the middle with some memento. And then I'm going to do a light night of navy. And then I'm going to do a dark. So I'm going to do that real quick, and I'll be right back. Now I'm going to do wishes for a beautiful birthday in memento, because there's a lot of black in this card anyway. So I decided to use memento instead of doing night of navy. So I'm going to just put that on here, and we're going to snail it up in the card. And this is what the inside looks like. Now let's get to the front. So the first piece we're going to start with is polished pink, is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And like I said, don't worry about writing the dimensions down. You can just grab them in the description of the video. And then grab that really pretty DS. And this is 4 by 5 1/4, of course. And we're going to lay that down. Then you're going to take this die and you're going to cut it out in basic black. And then you're going to cut it out again in basic white. Then we're going to grab this stamp right here and some memento. And we're going to stamp that in the middle, of course, of the white. Make sure you get ink on the whole thing. And just put it right there in the middle. If you're noticing, I'm not using a stamping pad because my glass, I don't need to. It works really well without a stamping pad. So just like so. The first thing we're going to color is the insides of the flower in Dark Daffodil Delight. And it's because you want to hit this one first before you hit any other color, because you're less likely to hit it with another color if you do it first. So just the insides like so. And then the next one I want to have you do is the berry. So you're going to take your dark polished pink and you're going to do those berries. They're not real obvious, but that's okay. So go ahead and do those. And then your light and dark soft succulent, go ahead and start with your light soft succulent first and do all the little leaves. So I'm going to fill in all the leaves and I'll be right back. Now I'm going to take my dark soft succulent and do like one side of the leaf just to give it some dimensions. Now on this card, what I did is I used water pens. So I did, and they come in this 3-pack here, and one of the water painters has a really sharp edge to it. and I did this in watercolor. And watercolor is great, but I wanted to show you what it also looks like with the blending pen. Even though I show you that on the first tutorial, I wanted to do it here as well. So I am just going to fill this in with the dark stuff succulent on parts of the leaves and just give it a little bit of dimension. For the blue flower, we're going to be using Night of Navy. So I'm going to use my light Night of Navy first and color the entire flower. Now I'm going to do some edging with the dark. Now the bottom leaves of the flower are darker, so I'm going to hit that whole bottom leaf with the dark. I'm going to flip over to the other side, and I'm going to do some, just put some lines in it where the lines are on the flower itself. Just like that, just give it a little dimension. Now for polished pink, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to take the light polished pink and color in the entire flower. Now I'm going to take the dark petaled pink and I'm going to do that bottom flower for sure. And there's the other part of that flower where it folds right there. I'm going to make that dark, all dark, and then just do some lines in the middle. Ooh, there's another fold right here. And just the lines, just to give it a little something, something. Let's go ahead and snail it down. Now you might think, oh, the rest of it's really easy, but there is a little trick that I'm gonna do here that I wanted to show you in a second with this frame. So, I mean, you can almost leave it like that, but we're not going to do that. So we already cut before the black frame here, and then we've got also, and I think I forgot to tell you, we need to cut out this frame as well in black. So I'm going to cut out this frame because I've totally forgot to do that. So I'll be right back. So I cut out this frame. You got this little piece you can use for something else like we did on those other cards. And then you got this piece here. So the first one we're going to lay down is this one because we're going to go ahead and double this frame and just do as best you can and get that down. Now, before we put this down, well, no, we can put this down now. So we're going to go ahead and snail this. I'm going to show you a trick. It's awesome. And maybe you've done this before. I don't know. But we're going to put this in and put that in the middle like so. Okay, now for the trick part. What you're going to do is you're going to take this die. Now, here's the trick. You're going to take this die and polished pink, and you're going to run it through your machine, and you're going to run it through like 4 times because you want all the little doohickeys to stay in the die. So I'm going to go run it through my machine a whole bunch of times, and I'll be right back. So here's my die. You see, everything's in it because I ran it through like 6 times because I don't want those puppies to move, and they're definitely cut. So I'm now going to take my fine tip glue. If you notice, I don't use glue a lot because I hate it. I don't think it's a good thing. I'd rather use snail. So that's all a personal choice. But I'm going to put some of the fine tip glue inside every little tiny hole here. And when I snailed this thing, I snailed it good as well on purpose because I want to make sure there's just a little bit of sticky and everything. Also, make sure you got all your hanging chads out. I see a hanging chad if you're, everybody's old that listens to my channel anyway. So just make sure that those are all popped out. Also make sure that you don't have another color in your die before you run the polished pink. You see, you have this hanging chad and it gives you all kinds of little problems here. So I'm just going to pull that out. And then keep gluing my pieces in and make sure you get every single one so they stay in. And they might stay in anyway just because we're going to push the you-know-what out of it into these holes. But you do want to make sure you get some glue in there. And I'm going to continue to do this and I'll be right back. Now the trick. So I'm going to take this die. I'm going to flip it over and match it up to the piece. I might have to put my head in the camera. And I'm going to make sure it pops in. Now you could kind of fiddle around with it and you can feel it when it goes into the other piece. And I'm going to take your pick tool, and I'm going to push those pieces in. So if you look at it, look at that. See? And you might have to like fix it a little bit, but it's better than poking them all out, gluing them down, blah, 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 blah. It's just you do this, just the trick is really to find where it fits in the die. So I know it's in, and I'm going to literally go and poke every single one maybe a couple of times just to make sure it's in there good. So I'm going to do that, and I will be right back. So I poked them all down. Let's see how well I did. Now, I totally expect a couple not to go in. Oh my gosh. That's unheard of. Now, like I said, you might have to adjust them because, you know, if you had the die on there just a little askew, so you just take your pick tool and you just make some adjustments. But wow, yay, look at that. On camera and everything, woohoo, that doesn't happen. So that is that. Now let me see if I can find my gold swirly things, and we'll put the embellishments on. So before I put on the embellishments, you do want to go through and make sure that you push them down really good, that they're in the glue. And if one pops out, then just use the little putty end of your thing and put it back in. So you do that. Now here's those gold swirls, and I just, you know, put them on each corner here, and that's the card. So here's all my cards together. So please like, subscribe if you want to get the card kit or the card packages. It'll be in cards. If you want to buy the set of the 3, either the birthday or the holiday ones. I might only have 1 or 2. I'll only put 1 in inventory at a time. So if it's out of stock, you'll see if I retire or bring it back. So anyway, that'll do it for me. Thanks.